I'll do that intro again.
Welcome, folks, again.
That was a nice dry run. Let me just quickly check the YouTube.
Here, let me turn my phone notifications on.
Not yet available on the YouTube just yet.
All right, let's give it a couple minutes to sink in here. It seems
There
to
we
say,
go.
yeah.
I see that we're live in the top corner, and yeah, I think we're moving. I can see it on LinkedIn. I think Twitter will be the same. Hello, universe. It's funny. I did an introduction earlier, but it seemed like it was just to the stars. No one heard me. I'm Spatialesque, digital artist here with friend and artist Karen. We have an amazing session for you today. Just behind the scenes of the work behind just creatives in all kind of styles and mediums in the digital sphere. So this will be the first of many. I'll be coming on next week, and this week we'll be just exploring Karen's work. So take it away, Karen.
Yeah, I'm so excited for to see what you do. Okay, let me do a little Creative Commons conversation, which is our host and where I'm leading the arts and culture role. Just for folks who don't know what Creative Commons licensing is. So Creative Commons licenses allows creators to share their work by changing their copyright from all rights reserved to some rights reserved. You might have seen these symbols before. I mean, you either know a lot about Creative Commons or nothing at all, or say, hey, I've seen those things, but I didn't know what they were. And so they give you they're basically an alternative way to signal creators' consent around how they'd like to see their work being used or distributed, right? And they don't negate the or live outside of the copyright or public domain or fair use or any of those other things that you might be using and mixing in your work. And we don't design them. We're not the arbitrators of licenses. Sorry, we're the design, like CC Designs license doesn't arbitrate them, right? That is to say, they're just these different ways of, like you can share something in the Creative Commons and have it share alike so other people can use it, but you ask that they also allow people to remix it. And some are just credit, and some there's a license even that's the public domain, which is people are probably most familiar with, like fair game kind of situation. The Creative Commons has had 1.4 billion CC licensed images around the world, and that was in 2017. So I'm sure there are a lot more still by now. Yeah. And there are lots of places you can find Creative Commons images, right? So you can find them on Wikimedia Commons. You can find them directly. You can search through Creative Commons search engine, and you'll see it, like how they've signaled.
Yeah, so I've seen these ones before. This is where I think I first came across them.
Really? Yeah, I mean, they're everywhere, right? Like the thing is that there's not like a database. It's not like when you register it, when you decide to say, I'm going to put this stamp on my work and say, like, people can do this with it or people can do that with it, that it's registered in a place, because it's basically just, a bunch of like, different nuanced ways of talking about what one can do with your work, right? And how you'd like to see it be shared or remixed. Most people find their stuff on stock image, libraries, which we're going to take a look at because I use that a lot in my work. So this is Pixabay. A lot of places have free for commercial use, no attribution required, right? So these images, you are free to use them for commercial means or for artistic means, to cut them up, to do whatever you'd like, and you can download them in all kinds of different forms. So this is where most people, I would say, access the stuff in Creative Commons. And, ideally Creative Commons would love to, create a culture where folks are always attributed and everything's open. Certainly, it's nice the way that I work to not, if I'm often using like 20 different images, to not have to then attribute them. And how do I attribute them, right? Like, do I write it in a bunch of text in a post, or do I have, a 30-second loop, like minutes, that's 2 minutes long? It's so it's not, that's a reason why a lot of times folks will just put stuff in there. And yeah, young people I've worked with we've done photo projects where we have contributed, and seen 500 plus downloads, and seen them in, images in architecture magazines, and,
Cool.
contribute to them. But also you can search, just anytime you search online, image searches. So not like a normal Google search. You can't filter a search for things in the comments, and there certainly are, like, bajillions of to use a technical term, of open education, PDFs of documents, of research stuff that also have a stamp of Creative Commons on them, but they don't have the same, you can't search them like this on Google, but you can search. If you go to images, you go to tools, and you can go down to rights, and the rights menu, and you can click on Creative Commons licensing, and you can see through here. This one leads back to Pixabay. You can see some of the usual suspects like Wikimedia, and the like. So these are some places that you can find the millions and millions of images. And yeah, CC is a community participatory, community-led thing that is global and around the world, and it's whoever takes up the work and contributes to it and contributes to the conversation, like Wikipedia or many things. It's yeah
worldwide.
Yes, it is. And we are, here I'm working with Creative Commons Canada, and you can get involved. You can join the Slack. You can find them on Twitter. You can get a hold of us directly. You can get into the newsletter. And people will reach out to us about all kinds of interesting things. Like I was saying earlier, we don't arbitrate licenses. Those licenses, like the rights to those licenses, like stay in the hands of the creator, of the person that flagged them in that particular way. But nonetheless, like, people will contact about licensing questions. And I find it fascinating. So feel free to reach out if you have some of those questions. Recently, there was
some bizarre questions. You must have heard all kinds of requests.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's interesting because we all use the Commons so differently. And this was somebody who makes environmental documentary films, and they wanted to use a piece of footage that was shared under a Creative Commons share alike license. And this was presenting all kinds of issues that I had never thought about, because again, I'm reducing these to these tiny little clips and, and these tiny little things. But basically he made this documentary with all kinds of footage and all kinds of variety of different licensing and copyright. So to make that product then share alike, because share alike license means like you can use it, but then what you make has to also be allowed to be remixed. And he was like, oh, I can't do that because that would be, giving consent on behalf of all these other pieces of footage, right, that are coming from different places. So it was fascinating to think about, but yeah, in the end, basically, we were like, reach out to the person, and I believe they did get a hold of them, and they did say like, yeah, okay, whatever, like, do what you want for the documentary. I'll kind of waive the that share alike situation. Creative Commons just celebrated 20 years anniversary, and they just had a summit that had some really interesting things. I haven't had the time to go through all of the stuff, but there were some of the founders who did different keynotes, and one was talking about some interesting stuff about the future of all of this, right? Like the synthetic media, and what happens when machines are roaming the internet and creating things from compiled tiny pieces of data, like who then owns those, right?
Machines?
Yeah, yeah. Well, the people that made the machines, the people that licensed the machines,
Robotic
how like
real
it
estate
starts to
right there.
become like all good questions. That's all good questions. Yeah, and I mean, it is very much a Creative Commons is born of the web and is about kind of unique problems of the internet and digital copies and all of that. There's some really interesting RIP, a Remix Manifesto, is a documentary made in Canada that is really great. That was right around the beginning, right around, I think they made it in 2005 or something.
Okay.
A really good comic is this, Tales from Theft, A History of Music.
Cool.
Yeah.
I'm a big comic fan, so I'm definitely going to check this one out.
Yeah, it's super interesting. It was made by some academics, but they made it in a comic book form because, yeah, it's basically about the history of music and iterating off of other people's things and just the problems that we're in nowadays with people being able to it's not even people, because that's not the issue, right? It's the media companies being able to copyright just this tiny little thing that exists, that'd be very difficult to do a certain type of music without, right?
Okay.
Right,
like a guitar or something. I mean, that's a silly example, but yeah, like
like a little riff, that you're like that, but that's the basic groove,
yeah.
And they're like, well, no, like now it's owned by so and so corp,
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, that's not helpful to creativity, right? Which is the point, that it thwarts creativity. Look, we're always building on the past and changing it, and there's a lot of stuff around borders and international trade and the states and intellectual property, and when they stopped producing things and just produced ideas, and the protection of those ideas and copyright law kind of gone mad. Also, this is a great book made with Creative Commons. It's got 12 case studies about basically creatives who put things in the commons but still made money, right?
Cool.
So it just kind of looks at like how we can create different kinds of digital economies other than ones that are about owning a riff from all blues music or whatever, right?
Yeah, to exploit that ownership. It's a sharing methodology.
Yeah, and some of them, like a lot of like Kickstarter is a big, fan of like I can't remember the guy that started it, but I read his book last year. It was a good one. But yeah, similar people, which is why it's not odd that the NFT conversation is also up in there, because like I said,
we're going there today.
What's that?
We're going to talk about NFTs today, are we? I know.
No, we don't. How much time do we don't know? No, we're not going to do that. We're not going to do that. But certainly the conversation. I mean, it's very much a tied to pushing back against ideas that scarcity is the only way that we can have value, and that and because there's this kind of narrative around copyright that like, well, the artist has to get paid, but the reality is that like the artist isn't getting paid by those companies that are copywriting their stuff, right? Or even like Spotify, or you know what I mean? Like that's not the case. And often, those places are not only exploiting, cash blocking artists, but also like audience blocking them, right? Like under the name of like we're protecting the artist so the artist can get paid, but that's not the case. And Kyle Smith had contacted us about a license that actually recognizes that this relationship between CC and NFTs. And I wrote a piece that's kind of like a point counterpoint, but yeah, join the discussion. The American Creative Commons HQ also wrote a piece about how the commons relates to NFTs and where the intersections are and stuff. I think that's it. That's my presentation on them. Cool. Any questions? From you, because I don't even
well, I never knew like how far and wide like Creative Commons seems to touch like politics, finance, economy, social aspects. I guess in a sense, even just equity and just freedom and access to to those various ideas. So it just seems so broad. I've just a couple of comments here. Nico Taylor says hello. Queen Kyo, hello as well. Michael Robbins, I'm a fan of CC, and he also recommends another licensing solution to keep an eye on, C-Link, which he says many people are trying to do with NFTs. One LinkedIn user, I think is anonymous here, is not coming to as a name, but the commons is an ancient idea. I wish more people knew about it.
Yeah, and we need to, I mean, there's a whole other conversation about the urgency to diversify the commons, because there's a bunch of stuff that is coming into the commons through kind of public domain, right? So we're talking about like the digitization of like physical libraries, right? Like the Library of Congress has the largest image collection in the world, and the Toronto Reference Library has like 1.4, I think even more than that, million images in their like image collection. I know this because I used to go there all the time back in the day before the internet to get all of my images for collage workshops and culture jamming stuff. And I'd photocopy hours and go through like files of like war images, comics, like, but a lot of that's becoming digitized, and it's interesting like what becomes digitized first and what gets lost in terms of just like representations of community movements or like posters. And so like who are making the decisions about that, and what stories do we not want to bury? What are the stories worth passing on to our children, and that we need to make sure are represented in the digital abundance, because there's just so much out there, right? Which is why most people just let algorithms and Google like curate that for them, because it's just like, like I don't know how to find all this stuff. Plus I find enough on the first 3 pages. So like, why would I search more? I don't know what I'm not seeing, kind of thing, but it's a problem,
So I've got a quick question as the digital art, because I mean I'm an artist that works with collage in digital media in a virtual sense, but it's still analog and it still relates to the use of images, right? So by the way, if anyone else has any questions, just drop them in the chat, where we're receiving them from all the YouTube, watch all the streamers there, and LinkedIn as well. Just write them in and we but my question would be, what advice would you give to artists working digitally in collage? So I saw you showed how to use Google to search for Creative Commons kind of imagery, but what would you think would be like some healthy practices to use artwork to remix in an ethical kind of way?
That's a big question. Well, I mean, again, like you can be strict about it and just use things that have been flagged by folks, who are saying like, this is the problem is that there's this whole other relationship with the internet and with images and with content, period, right? That we have that is, and partly because it's unmanageable, the amount of stuff, but it's like, how do you give credit where credit is due? And so many things are like uplifted from their context, right? Like you find things in places and you don't know where you found them, and
it's like cutting from a magazine like that I found, and then before I know it, the magazine's gone, and I've got a piece of art that I'm working on. So
totally, and much of the internet kind of functions like that, which again, Creative Commons is like an attempt to push back against that and to create like a different norms. But like we said, like, attribution and stuff is tough. Like apparently there is actually in Unicode, like, so you can actually like use the Creative Commons, there's like, a way to, within your keyboard, kind of signal which license it is. Anyways, more about that later. Hopefully I'll figure some of that out before some of the other events, but let's not we'll come back to that. That's an ongoing, you know what I mean? That's an ongoing
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I can see this amazing image in front of us. Can you tell us a bit more about this here?
Yeah, this is a cardboard, Google Cardboard that I was playing with, trying to play with the push the limits of what Artivive can currently do in terms of getting a 3D effect from a 2D image recognition. Let me just, I don't know if I should show you my work first. My goodness, it's already 8:23. Okay, I'll show you some of my work, and then I'll tell you about the parameters and the kind of the rules of the game within Artivive and image recognition, augmented reality. So yeah, that's let's see what I got here. So you can see it here a little bit. I actually can't find well, it doesn't matter because we can't look at it through the iPad, but you can see here it mixed.
Crazy.
So I've embedded some video in the eyes, and then I've played with some PNGs to kind of get this kind of 3D that plays really well, like right off. So you can wear it as a digital mask with the video.
The video is so striking, just particularly the eyes as well. Like it's.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, that video was created, through Pixabay probably.
Okay.
And why is it not wanting to play? Is it ending? There's something else there. No, it's taking me through the slides. My bad. Yeah. So anybody who's got the Artivive app,
So I downloaded mine earlier.
Yeah. If you've got it downloaded on a device, you can actually point it at this image and see one of the animations. Again, this is a poster now through Just Seeds, and this is in Creative Commons, created by the artist Swoon, and in honor of the Cochabamba water pushback against the privatization of water. And over on the right, you've got a video, in case you don't have the Artivive app downloaded. This is a video of my daughter's bedroom where I've taken a decal, so just like a decal that I bought off Etsy.
Wow.
And then I've animated it. Yeah, it's kind of freaky.
That's absolutely insane. Just a completely different dimension.
Yeah. I mean, the irony is that like anybody else who also bought this wall decal from Etsy
will have the same effects if
they just don't know. If some kid one day, I imagine one day the kids will just start pointing at things and be like, "Mommy!"
Red trails everywhere. You just discovery. Wow. Okay.
What's that?
It's like a world of discovery. You just have it. You just never know what's gonna animate, what's been hidden. That's like, I love street art, for example, and just like walking the streets. You turn a corner, you have no idea what you're gonna find. Even in like Banksy's work in Bristol, in England, where I'm from, and you're always surprised. And this reminds me of that, just that those moments where you just don't expect it, and your wall's on fire.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I'm all about that. Like again, the image recognition stuff, what's so cool about it is that, yeah, like if you're living in a place where there's a big massive billboard outside your bedroom window, you can change that to a picture of your happy family or a video. Now obviously you're not walking around looking through your phone at all times, so it still doesn't stop but there's so many places where the image can be used as a way to intervene in the public space, like for sure. If you were in my neighborhood, Specialist, there are like 90 of those. I'm no Banksy, but like I went to town on basically everything in my neighborhood when I started playing.
Totally. Yeah.
So there's a whole there's all kinds of invisible art tour on all kinds of image markers. Some just like graffiti tags, some murals, some paintings, some images, some stop signs. Like I've got all kinds of things that. But it's kind of like making art for like invisible ink, because like nobody knows it's there. Like, can I find less audience? And yeah, if you pointed at this one, you can see that I didn't do this. Little something called Bitcoin, you might have heard of. They've gone and taken that. Now, this isn't Artivive is a database image recognition AR app. So that means that's it. That dollar's taken, right?
Wow.
Right.
Okay.
And if you're at home and you've got art books, a lot of like the Mona Lisa, a lot like Nighthawks, a bunch of work that I wanted to add my own work to once I realized this, and was like, oh, it's taken. Too bad. So,
Wow.
so any kind of public domain images, and again, that will play off of the Mona Lisa on a calendar, on the real Mona Lisa, on a print of the Mona Lisa, like that.
Wow.
And this is the $1 bill is, I don't know how many are in circulation, but I put some art on the $20 Canadian bill, and I think there are 2 billion in circulation. So technically, there are 2 billion screens of my artwork. If you knew when you had the Artivive app,
That's a fascinating way to circulate the ideas. It's amazing. I have one of your pieces in my pocket.
Exactly.
And I didn't even know it.
Yeah, and people have done, like, somebody put like just a video of the carbon footprint of Amazon, like on the Amazon logo, right? Because by the time I realized this, I was like,
wow,
oh my God, like, again, culture jamming, spatial
that's a strong piece of graffiti just on there.
Totally.
Wow.
I feel like Apple almost is so smart because it hates reflexive surfaces, the eye, so you can't really get it to anything. I've tried. And what I love about it too is that you can stretch the videos right in Artivive. So this is an Artivive. Okay. This is a video that I made normally, but I've stretched it as long as this long newspaper here. So you can really play with form, right? Yeah. You can take content and make it have a completely different form. And if StreamYard were able for me to show you the tour that I prepared all afternoon of my studio, you'd see that, like, I've got things that, like, I've got a GIF that's attached to this paper heart. That's it's a brain and heart. I don't know if you can point the app at it and see it. It's a little tough to get going, though it does like collage images and kind of paper, the eye when I say it. And then this is some work that I did that was with BSAM Canada, that folks who were saying hello earlier, Nico and Queen, and it's called Love Letters, and it is amazing. Don't go down there right now. It's not safe, but soon you can go and check it out. But it is safe to look at it right now if you want to point your app at it in this context. You can see some of it. There's just some installation safety issues on site that if you're in Toronto, you can go check it out. There's 2 years to check it out. So, but if you want to check out some of it right now, you can point the app at any one of the letters and see.
Cool. Yeah, the V's just giving me some love. That's amazing. Wow.
Nice. We'll leave that there for a second.
I'm amazed that this works on like a screen, on like a printed surface. There's so much potential with it.
Yeah, for me, it's all about the video on paper, kind of. I mean, and of course, like public. Like this is a public installation, of course, and that as well. Like there's with these kinds of things, there's 2 sites, right? Like there's the image as site, right? Like it's site specific in the sense that you have to work with the image, and not all images work well, and you'll see that when we jump into Artivive. But the other site is the physical site, right? So one of the reasons why I spend a lot of time cropping things is because, if I have like a big square green screen thing playing over this letter, it won't really matter if you're looking at it on a screen. But in the physical world, if there's a post or something in between it, or there's snow up to here or whatever, the video
that can have an effect on it. That's interesting.
It'll start breaking the illusion. Yeah, it'll start showing that the video is actually, like not fully attached to the physical, right? Like, because it's the site, it's the image that that it's attached to, right?
I've got a couple comments in here. Nico Taylor says, yes, love letters will be coming back soon. Eli Carmona says, wash hands. I think that's probably an inside joke on another Artivive piece of art. Mohammed S. Rippin says, just to know, how does an artist gather ideas to create a specific art? I'm sorry if it's a silly question. I think that's a great question. What do you have to say to that?
Sorry, what was the question? Sorry, I was just looking at Ellie's. I was trying to figure out what Ellie meant. Maybe the hand washing. I did some posters about
you did?
About soap and hand washing. You'll see those when we go over to Artivive. Sorry.
Cool. Amazing. The question from Mohammed was, how does an artist gather ideas to create specific artwork? Maybe in your case, because I know every artist has a different.
You want to field that one? I mean, I am not an image maker, so I am inspired by existing and found things, objects, images. Start to go wild on with Artivive and stuff, having fun. I started attaching videos to everything, and cool. Animating every one of my daughter's paintings, or like just kind of being like, like. I could. So for me, I'm inspired by the stuff around me, and the hunt, the search, like the image, the search and find, kind of thing. And then for me, also like idioms, language is a big piece. Often things start for me with a title before anything else. What about you?
Just in my process, a lot of my found work, it's a juxtaposition. So I like things that are not meant to fit together, but then you make them fit together. So a lot of my work is, as your spatial as the name suggests, like it's connecting spatial aspects with things in reality. Like it's like walking through a door and you're in the stars. It's just kind of keeping that idea. I see some more amazing images here. Are these all scannable?
Oh yeah, technically yes. I mean, these are thumbnails, so they're not the best images. But yes, I guess do you want to try and see at that size if you're able to?
Let's see. You're having me completely hooked on this now.
Oh my god, yeah, it's luckily, it came right down in price.
The foxes,
now it's completely accessible.
I think No Justice, No Peace. I remember seeing this on your Instagram, Karen. It's definitely one of my. It's a great one.
That's a friend's print. Yeah. And I made these. So I made these posters and stuff. I don't know. Some of these are murals and stuff. This is a puzzle. Like I've started to do it with everything. This is for a recent. This is happening at the Junction starting November 26th until January 10th. I want to say, and it's 18 works of AR, so it's really worth the download. So it's 18 different shops, and their windows have they paired muralists, like image makers, and animators, and so each window is a different animation and mural. So go check that out. These are just what I started. This is one of the first things that I did. These murals. Not all these are in the right order of when I did them, because it used to be only three free projects.
You did the US passport, did you?
I did. So this is one of the things that's really fun about it, is that so you can only use an image once, but you can do the same video on multiple images, right? So that same video you saw of the money, right? The green screen money video. Making coin. It exists on the 20, the American 20, the Canadian 20, an older version of it, because I had made it on an older version, and then I realized it was what? That's not really in circulation. Nobody had it on them. And then the French, American, and Canadian passport. I did this piece about migration and refugees. This is a box. This is why I'm very upset that the iPad doesn't work to show it, but this is a box that has video playing within it. But you can't really, it's kind of useless. So you need to see it in physical space. And then I've attached things to earrings. Like I kind of went to town practicing what makes a good image, what it recognizes well, and then this was on a
What's the
mask.
limit?
I think I have this somewhere.
So you're telling me that it could detect an earring?
Yes, not
No.
anything shiny and metal though.
Okay. But
But
that's tiny.
what's
That's
that?
pretty.
Yeah, it's small. Yeah,
That,
it's
yeah,
because it's
I'm surprised.
geometrical. It's because of the shapes in it.
Yeah.
There is a this one was in here. So that was just a mask, and then I just added that this
Cool.
little GIF, art GIF shenanigan.
Yep.
And so again, anybody who buys that mask from that shop has that same thing attached to it, though they don't know it.
Yeah.
So one could ask, does it matter?
Wow.
And then here I've like embedded some videos and stuff. This is the stuff that I have over here to show you guys, but that you don't get to physically see. But yeah, and also because I've been doing animations myself and also teaching that for so long, like I immediately started putting up a lot of student works, attaching them to either a still image, like.
It's a great way to disseminate. It's like it's really putting it out there, like putting your work out in the hands of people.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is a student's GIF that they put, and it doesn't like Manet because it doesn't have enough contrast.
So I've got one question from Alfredo. What are you building the animations on?
I'm just doing Photoshop, and I'm gonna open that up very soon. Yeah, I'm just doing it in Photoshop. Now, I don't know if we're even gonna have time really to get through fully my process. Maybe we will, but certainly if anybody is like, wow, this woman's a fool, like there's this other software that does all these things in one place, let me know. Because it's just the way that I do it, because that's just the way that I do it. But I usually, do a mix of video embeds and then animations over top, either like exported as GIFs or exported as in some kind of green screen form. Let me just show you inside, underneath the hood. What am I going to show you? Maybe I'll show you this one. So in this case, so Artivive, these are the parameters. This is what you're playing with here. You can add up to 3 videos, GIFs or videos. Okay. So you can, that really, depends on what you want to do. So because this is a no background image and I didn't want to green screen it, it's uploaded as a GIF. Right. And then this video is just uploaded. I didn't have to do anything to this. I didn't edit it or embed it. I just literally put it behind the animation and in front of the target image.
So the decal it's a GIF.
So the decal is a physical sticker on my daughter's wall, and then the trigger image. Yes, GIF. Sorry. Yeah. So I took the same photograph that's the target image.
Oh, okay.
I removed the background and then I animated the thing. So
that's what you did in Photoshop, right? To create that.
That's what I did in Photoshop.
Okay. Okay. Cool.
Yeah. Which, whatever, we're not really going to get into frame animation too much. You know what I mean, in terms of like the time, but yeah. And then I have a little
GIF or GIF. Where do you say on that?
Oh, there's no time for that, specialist. There's no time.
I'm a red herring, just kind of completely.
Yeah, I mean, I used to always say GIF for a long time. Then the world, words belong to, as we say in linguistics, like language belongs to its speakers, right? So I used to say GIF because that's like the guy who made it. That was literally his acceptance speech at the Webby Awards. It's pronounced GIF. But most people who make them for a living or who do this a lot call them GIFs. So and for years, when I would say GIF, some people would correct me and say GIF. It's pronounced GIF, or we'd always get into this argument.
Cool.
But then, yeah, now that I've started using the term GIF, people aren't correcting me as much. So I figure that seems to have won. I always tell people, if you want to call it GIF, then make GIFs. You know what I mean? Call them GIFs, share GIFs, say GIF as much as you can. And the people will decide.
Cool.
What's another one?
It's amazing seeing these layers. Okay, so you have the GIF, you have the image. That's a video with the flames, right? In the background.
Yeah,
cool.
I didn't do anything with that video. I think I cropped it.
All right.
And then I have a little green screen video. You can't really see this too well. Maybe I can turn these things off and zoom in. I was playing with this. I really like this video that I made. And I don't know if you can see it. It's a really beautiful video. It's got this like this wave across the underneath the like onk.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, it won't pick it up. There's not enough contrast in this image to attach it on its own, which is really too bad, because the reason I was trying to attach it on its own is because every single one of these leaves would have the same video that would play, right? Because it's the same image.
Oh, I see.
Unfortunately, there's not enough contrast in it, and I've tried a bunch of different ways. Like sometimes you can get something to work by when you upload it, you just choose the first frame as the trigger. Yeah, there's little workarounds and stuff, and of course they're changing and developing the software.
Right.
And they're going to allow for 3D objects pretty soon, and so still image triggers, but OBJ files and the likes. Let me cancel that.
It sounds to me like contrast is a really big player in getting these to be recognized, eh?
Yeah, contrast, asymmetry. It doesn't like symmetry too much.
Really?
Yeah. Okay. It doesn't know where to land it and play, what direction to play. You know what I mean? If it's too symmetrical. Some of them I love to just play with just PNGs. So this is just PNGs.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
Taken different pieces and then brought them in and just played with them along the axis. You can make them bigger. You can rotate them with this, or you can move them around.
Incredible. So you use the PNGs like there's various layers.
Yeah, I mean, in this one, let me see. One of the first ones I did of one in the neighborhood, and what I'll do with my daughter's like paintings to do it in like 2 seconds. 2 seconds, it's exaggerating, but like this one, right? I'll take this painting, this little painting from my daughter's, drag in this image, and just literally let collaborate with the machine a bit, and let the select kind of choose, and just cut it and paste it and export it as a transparent PNG, and then bring it in and play around with. I mostly do this stuff to impress my 6-year-old.
I'm impressed.
It works. Yeah, it works really good on 16.
It's worked on me too. Wow. Okay. And so what do you do? What would you tend to do with these layers now that the machine's kind of picked up the different colors and split them?
So I bring them in, and I can do all kinds of I can bring them farther apart, right?
Yeah.
And then you can lay them flat. Even one of the ones I laid a video of an aerial video of a lake, but laid it flat on the sidewalk.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
So that it's actually you can actually kind of build, a 3D space, right?
Okay. That's that interests me definitely in the kind of the 3D aspect. So even just by layering them, you create like a depth to an image that used to be flat, basically, right?
Yes.
Cool.
Yeah, even actually, if you look at the trigger image of what I was going to work on today, or what I'm still going to work on, but if you let me just open it up, actually.
Yeah.
So if you point your camera at that, you should be able to see something. Let me just remember what's on there. It was just PNGs that I was playing around with.
Oh wow! Okay. So even as I move my phone around, I'm able to definitely see some some depth, and there's a three-dimensional aspect to it.
Yeah, and with the PNGs, you know, there's not as much of a chance. It's really the video that you start to get into, break the illusion if somebody gets near it, if somebody gets too close to it, and all of a sudden you see that it's not actually, you know, that distance, right? Like it's an illusion that's happening in your phone. Whereas this way, you can put your hand, you can get inside there, and you can take a, you know, you can take a shot of yourself with these other hands or whatever, right? So you can actually
so you can get between the layers. Oh wow.
Yeah, I have videos of my daughter and Quinn's daughter as well. Yeah, running, testing things for me, running behind them and seeing when they break. But yeah, so here, let's get into what little like watching me work thing. So here I've just taken, actually haven't animated anything here. This is actually a series of photographs of my mother-in-law's hands. But I've just added them to frames, right? So it's opening up. And then I've taken a, just a normal picture, I think. Because I was playing around with the 3D scanner, the LiDAR, whatever, trying to get this necklace. I mean, there's a whole story to this that's really, that's about hand-me-downs and the way that I have a good friend, I don't know if she's out there, Erin, that was talking about her mother giving her something and her being like, oh God, no, like, you know, something that was like, you know, you're now it's in your hands to pass on to your child. She was like, no, I'm too minimal for that. Like, I don't want stuff, you know? And so we were talking about that burden, as it relates to motherhood and a number of things, which is why I chose as the trigger image my daughter's little hand there. But ideally I would like it to play on a piece of stone that you actually hold in your hand, so that you feel that kind of like it's been given to you, so you feel some of that burden. And then, as I was saying to you earlier this week, I had a file that I'd already reworked for where basically each hand slowly I just photo edit it and make it look younger, so that the hands get younger and younger. Anyways, computer problems. Catalina's a bad word in this house. Let me just say that still a year later. So I'm just going to export this. I'm going to export this as a GIF.
First, I have to say that's a really lovely idea with just taking the narrative of the story, you know, the images, in this case, your mother-in-law's hands, and just kind of combining them. It's great to see these tools being used in quite cool and interesting ways, but also to convey deep and really meaningful messages in this new art form. So that's really, really quite amazing to see.
Yeah, and I think that both are fully legit, you know, like, like in the sense that, like,
I'm all for it.
Yeah, like I love the playing and the impressing my 6-year-old, and I love the, you know, those ones that you saw that that play on the passports and the newspapers, and those, like, those were videos that in this series, idiosyncratic, that I had started ages ago, and I hadn't done much with, and then I was just playing around so much with this stuff, and then when I realized, you know, all of these Artivive database stuff that I could do, I was like, oh, here's a way of showing them now, you know, instead of in some compilation video or on some screen in some gallery or whatever. Like I can actually attach it to things right now and get people taking a look at it, if they know about it and download the app. There are still some barriers to this stuff.
It's always a step. Walking into a gallery, downloading an app. It's
Well, that's a great thing about Artivive. I mean, again, this is not an Artivive commercial, but you know, once you download it, now you've got an entire world of images. You know, like it's not like you're downloading one app to see one piece of artwork, right? Like one of my pieces of artwork. Though it's great to know how to do that stuff as well. You know, Yeah, so let me just, then what I'm going to do is I want to give it even more depth. So I've exported my GIF. I'm going to bring that into to Artivive. But also I have separated this layer and I want to put some video right into this kind of like crystally chunky area.
Okay.
And just have it like, I don't know, swirl like into the universe like a black hole or something of that kind. Stay away from you today, Firefox, because giving me problems. So I love you. What was I going to do? Okay, so yeah, we won't have time to mix obviously anything with sound, but sound obviously is a huge part of AR, right?
For swirly black hole cosmic image, is that what you're going for?
What should I? You tell me. You give me the words.
Just give Milky Way, maybe a shooting star in there or something. Yeah, see what we can.
Okay, we got video. I mean, I could mask that and remove.
I mean, there's so much. Yeah.
You get just this.
That's awesome. Yeah, 28 seconds as well. Yeah.
Oh no, what time is it? Oh, it's 28 seconds?
No, as in the clip
yeah,
length.
that's a good, that's a good, thanks for mentioning that. Yeah, so in Artivive, 45 seconds, you don't want it to be more than 45 seconds. So I am going to take this because it's going to be, I won't have to worry about editing the video.
So do they have to loop as well? Or like, do you have to have the video in a certain...
They loop automatically, yes.
I've noticed they don't stop.
Say that again?
I've noticed that the videos didn't stop, but it always felt like they were. I didn't notice the loop, like it was very natural. So does that affect the type of video that you kind of choose normally?
Absolutely, yeah, for sure. And of course the animation, right? Like, yeah, I mean, I'm all about the infinite loop, and the and the fact that so I don't usually do stuff with a beginning, middle, and end. Usually my stuff is just, again, why I love the video stuff, so that you don't know, you know, and you look away when you want to, as opposed to, okay, it's done. Oh, it's starting again, right? I'm mindful of the time.
Back in Photoshop. You have about 8 minutes, or well, we've been running for 52, so we can.
Yeah, I'm just not sure if it's going to stop us on the. I'm going to bring this into the target image. I'm going to embed it, and then I'm going to export it right away. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take this and I'm going to just plop it right into. Let's see. It's a pretty good time to plug the sponsors, maybe. Yeah, if you like this event and you want to see more events like this, register, join us next week. All right, we'll just kind of do that for now. I want to kind of blend it so that we get a little bit of that chunk from the crystal in there.
It's already so striking. Yeah, just the contrast between them.
All right, I'm not going to blend it because I want us to get there in time. All right, we're just going to stretch it, warp it a bit. Okay, I'm going to export that. Hopefully it doesn't give me, it's probably I'm going to need to crop it after, but whatever, we'll just see if it gives it to me without bars.
It's great to have a peek into the workflow, like so using Photoshop and then Artivive, and like the found imagery, the way you found those has been, good to see how those kind of work together.
Yeah, usually there's a number of steps, and because I'm often working with green screen and I don't know how to overlay it. I don't know if it's possible. I don't think it is in Photoshop. Oh, what was that? Is that me? Let's see. Okay, so this is when I was playing with the PNGs. I'm just going to take these out. And I'm going to add some videos. And here's my blue screen, my blue screen that I brought in. I did like a slow motion video on an actual physical blue screen of the piece of jewelry.
Okay.
You can't really, let me take off the transparency for a second so you can just see the video. Just a slow motion video of this necklace that is a whole other story behind that necklace. But anyways, that's about family and all the things that the piece is about.
I'll ask you about that story next week when I'm sketching away. I like to hear, you know, music, audiobook stories, so you can tell me that story as I'm.
Where did I send it? Did I not send it to the desktop?
Let's see.
Apologies, people. Or it's still exporting. Yes, I'm excited. Do you know what you're going to be working on next week?
So it's a combination. I'm at the moment I'm kind of reimagining the center of Toronto. Shout out to Rising Youth and yeah, the amazing kind of curation team there. And so yeah, I'm going to be kind of exploring just kind of the combination of found images and just creating a panorama. So kind of your own Google Street View. Yeah, so kind of just putting that 3D experience similar to it kind of relates really well to seeing this kind of augmented kind of reality experience and just trying to talk a bit more about the virtual side of things.
Cool. Yeah, I'm super excited to see that. I have no clue how it is you do what you do. I don't understand why this is when I'm telling it to render a video, it's wanting to give me a JPEG.
Oh, strange.
And what happened to my GIF?
If anyone has any more questions for Karen as she exports this video, just feel free to just drop them in, and just reach out as well on social media, and keep the conversation going. We hope to have more of these, you know, in the coming months. Just kind of just chilled work sessions, really, and just kind of chance for you to just see behind the scenes.
Yes, and yes to thank you to thorough.ca and Anthroscope Media for supporting us, and if you register, you know, and tell others to register, that'll help us to see. Thank you, Aaron. That'll allow us to work with have a little pot of money to work with to invite more folks on to this.
More artists, more stories. Yeah.
Okay, I did export the GIF. All right, I'm gonna bring in the GIF now.
Cool.
And yeah, check out. Oh wait. You can also check out this image later, right? If you don't, because I'm gonna finish it up, even if you have to go. Why is it not liking the GIF? Sometimes it is strange with GIFs, and you have to like select change and then go.
Does it have any file size limits, or?
It has some minimums, but the error has occurred. Video is required. What are you talking about?
We just added one.
Yeah, when it's not required to be a video, unless something changed overnight. Very strange. That's my... Huh. I don't know why that is happening. That's unexplainable to me.
How many videos at a time can you can layer several videos, right, at a time?
You can layer, yeah, you can,
Oh,
again, those videos, even though you're clicking add video, it can be a GIF,
um,
or a video.
mhm.
I'm gonna go out of here for a second. Gotta go out and come back in.
Standard solution.
Yeah, exactly. Computer engineers. I don't know. It's so strange too that like that the video isn't exporting as a video. Very strange. Timeline not open.
Yeah, I really like the the layers just allow you to just add that dimension of depth. Because so how far can you really stretch these? Like, does it depend on how far you can stand away with the phone in terms of the illusion of
I
like the
mean, you can lay it pretty far out, right? Like
yeah.
I've got one that I did with my daughter and a lamppost. Why does it want to export it as a JPEG? I don't understand.
Oh.
Okay.
In format, yes. Yeah, I think
But like
oh,
I
that's
picked
strange though.
video, so there's no reason why it should be doing that.
Oh.
Never in my life. Only now, no? Video's not playing normal either.
Hmm. Maybe it brought the video in as an image in that case.
Well, maybe I'll show you to answer your question then, and then I'll plop those in after. Folks can check out the target image.
Sounds good.
Yeah, so to answer your question, here I did a lot of like going back and forth because of the ground, right? Like this is a garage door.
Okay.
So the ground is not even, of course, right? And the garage door is not even. And I was taking this target, working with this target image with this lamppost in the shadow, and then I put in my daughter. This is kind of one thing I would redo once they allow OBJs, because I could actually do a 3D scan of her, and I could do a 3D lamppost, right?
Yeah.
I would still do a 2D light effect, like spotlight
So,
effect. There would be
so with the OBJ, does that mean that you can take it from many angles and it'll identify and it'll
well,
recognize
it'll
it?
still be just a trigger image, but this could be 3D.
Oh, I see. Okay. So you can walk around and instead of have just the layers, you're seeing an actual 3D.
Okay, not necessarily. So yeah, to
No.
have that kind of extended viewing, you kind of need to be building it in Unity and
Oh,
V4, that
okay.
kind of stuff.
Okay.
But they've gotten a lot better. Like a lot of times, my phone will just be kind of like not even close to something, and we'll pick it up,
Well,
and they stick pretty well.
yeah.
But yeah, if you start trying to walk around this pole, right, you're going to no longer be pointing at the trigger image.
Okay.
Was the
Yeah.
issue there. But yes, you could definitely do it enough that you could see the side and you could see that it's 3-dimensional
Yeah,
instead
yeah.
of seeing that it's 2D. But this is quite far out. Like this
Love,
is, even though
love
it doesn't
that.
look that far out in this drawing, it's very far out in the physical world. Like I have a video of it somewhere, but yeah, there's quite a bit. Like my dog can fully walk, like 2 or 3 dogs could walk in between it, like I
Wow.
pulled it quite out into the alley.
Yeah.
Um,
So is the trigger image here the lamppost or the garage?
The garage door, yeah, right
Door?
here. This one up here. So I've copied and drawn in the eye.
So you have something in the foreground that's like really kind of close to you.
Yes, yeah.
Okay, cool.
So you can see it. Yeah, exactly. It's much closer to you.
Cool.
Yeah. So yeah. um Yeah, there's so much to do there. Yeah, I'm really interested to know as well, like what about your own work in terms of that spatial piece, right? Like that, like
Yeah,
the
yeah,
virtual space versus the physical reality of that
yeah.
experiences that you make.
There's so many amazing themes I think that definitely like relate. Just hearing about just access to media for art. So whether that's
Mm,
using Artivive as a tool, or even just Creative Commons in terms of sourcing the media that you use. And so yeah, a lot of my work will touch on those areas really about bringing power to the people in that sense. I know now there's a lot of talk about metaphysical experience
mm,
in digital media, but I'll talk about some tools and some ways through open source software that you can create your own panoramic experiences, and this can be something that's kind of open to, as we've seen here, just kind of new ideas, new ways of doing things, uh,
right.
that everyone should have an opportunity to get involved in, representing themselves in the world of virtual reality. So tune in next.
Does yours involve a lot of code? I mean, we're going to get into this next week, but
Yeah, it's so there's some kind of back end code that you can get into, particularly using kind of Panellum, which is the program I'll be talking about. It's an API, and so yeah, there'll be a chance to just look at some of that basic. I'll just kind of run through some kind of just basic setup, and then how you can kind of build on that to potentially kind of create your own just imagined virtual tour. That it links with Cardboard as well, like Google Cardboard that you were
right.
showing us earlier as well. So
Amazing.
yeah.
And the exporting situation is accessible too. Like we can try it out kind of together, or not so much.
That you definitely can. There's a
Mm,
few steps, so it's gonna be. I'll
right.
probably like run through the steps and then show like a few of the kind of the main pit stops and say, okay, this is what you'd get at this stage,
Right.
and then yeah, kind of like explain each of the pieces of software that you can grab and try and use to create it. So yeah,
Yee, I'm so excited.
yeah,
So, so
yeah.
excited. And next time I will have alcohol instead of water. So
Yeah, we got there. Well, thank you to everyone for coming along and the love in the comments. I know I've learned so much, and I know I'll be like running around on Artivive and creating my own trigger images. The $20 bills taken, but I'm sure I'll find. Find another one to
yeah, you'll
use.
find lots of other stuff that's been taken.
I don't want to mention the one that I want to use.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
This logo. Um, but yeah, no, it's I'm looking forward to just continuing these. So yeah, thank you to everyone for the support coming along, and it really helps us to keep doing this, getting more artists on as well. So looking forward to seeing more.
Yeah, looking forward to more for sure. Thank you so
Cool,
much. Thank you for asking. Thank you for everyone who showed up. And
cool.
I will, maybe I will, I'll put the trigger. Oh, you know what? Two things. One, this has been recorded. We're going to cast this at some different times. So I'm going to do that right now when we end the broadcast. So, in kind of like a 6 to 9 in, London to
Yep.
Poland time frame, and then another like Singapore, Hong Kong, Japan time frame again, evening kind of evening thing within the next 24 hours, and then poof, it's gone. So keep an eye out for that. And what I'll do is I will post most definitely on LinkedIn and on Twitter and all that, the target image, and I'll get those pictures up there. And please tell me what you think, share your comments, reach out if you want to talk about the commons, if you want to talk about the Creative Commons or the commons in general, and art always.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you everyone. Bye.
See ya.